Hi, I'm Rose, and you're watching The Sovereign Soul. This is the Fix You for Free series for people who have found out that they perhaps have a terminal illness or cancer or something that may take their life away sooner, but they don't have the financial means to help themselves. Maybe they don't have the understanding, the knowing of the tools. Maybe they don't feel like they want to go on the medical routes. Maybe they are going on the medical routes because it's free and not actually understanding themselves or how their body functions. And so I wanted to make a series of videos which will go wherever they go to help people to understand themselves, to know themselves, to empower themselves. And most of what I talk about is for free. So how do you get your life back? How do you possibly fix your body when you don't have the means to do so? Um, so I've spoken about diet and carnivore diet, and one thing I didn't speak about is elimination. And what's really important is to understand that when I talk about eating meat, I mean that's the only thing that I eat. I do not eat any junk food. I do not eat any vegetables. I do not eat any like cool drinks or flavorant stuff, even if it's sugar free. I don't do any of that crap. The only thing I have that is not carnivore is black tea and coffee, but I will have milk in that. I was having honey, but I'm not having honey anymore because it's defeating the purpose of what I'm trying to achieve, and that is to get rid of these tumors that are living in my body. So every other thing that I'm doing, other than the food I eat and the iodine that I pay for, which is the only supplement that I recommend, is free because I don't have the money to do any of the other stuff. Um, and that was a really hard thing for me to get my head around. And I'm sure that if anybody else is in a situation like I am, it's not the nicest thing to realize that, hey, maybe your life is going to be a little bit shorter than you thought it would be. For me, particularly, I feel shitty because of my kids. I've got 4 kids who I absolutely adore. I'm a single mom and have been for the last 9 years, and even financially responsible for them. And that has been a huge thing for me. It's like I feel like such a failure at the thought that I might die before I need to. That is one aspect of something that I've been dealing with. I'm sure that you are going to be dealing with your own process of understanding, hey, you have cancer and your life might be a little bit shorter. I say might be the whole time because who knows, maybe I figure it out and maybe I actually do get better. That's definitely what I'm trying to do. So I'm by no means being I'm like stagnant. I'm being incredibly proactive in the things that I'm choosing to do. I have the internet, which means I can do fuck tons of research, which I know some people say, oh, that's dangerous. Well, look, if you're watching this, you're on the fucking internet, and maybe this is helping you. But I rather trust my body and my intuition and my own experiences far more than what a mainstream anything is going to tell me to do. And so far, I have seen improvements in myself and in my health, and that to me is a great indicator that things are on the up. They might not be on the up, they might be prolonging my life for a few years. I'm okay with that too. But whatever the story is, I am rather going to go on this journey as I am. And like I say, I don't have the finances to try and tackle it differently. I have mainstream that they help poor people with, or I have what I'm doing, and I definitely feel far more empowered in what I am doing. So mindset is a big thing. I got really afraid. I did when I found out. It was just like processing. And then I phoned a doctor. I had money to phone a doctor who was an integrative doctor, and I really thought that he would give me some good info, and the info he gave me scared the shit out of me, pulled the carpet right out from underneath me, because I thought, oh, I'm going to give myself like 6 months to follow diet, go on healthy supplements. At that stage I still had money, and I was going to be able to fix myself that way, or see improvement at least over 6 months, and know that whatever protocol I was doing was helping, because I have done tons of research. I've got a lot of information, and so I wanted to use that in order to help myself. And he basically said, no, you're going to have to go for a mammogram, you're going to have to go for an autopsy, and then we're probably going to have to cut whatever's in there out. Okay, so that's gone from me having one sonogram to all of a sudden having to have a already tumored breast um, squeeze, because I have large boobs actually, so you'd be squeezing the tumors, not a good idea. And apparently cancer cells do spread that way, and there's a lot of information that says it does. To biopsy, which again is putting a needle in a closed thing in my body and then opening it and then putting loads and millions of little cancer cells out as the needle pulls out, which is just crazy. That would spread it, in my opinion, and I'm not doing that. And as for surgery, well, again, that can also spread things from what I've seen, and also it's a very intrusive thing to do to a body. Bodies don't like to be cut. They don't like to be cut open. They don't like anesthetic. These things are all really hard on a body. And especially if you've already got compromised immune system, you're struggling with inflammation, your hormones are already imbalanced, and your mitochondria is obviously really fucked. It just doesn't make sense to do any of those things. And then if they find that the stuff is actually malignant, well, then you're looking at all possibilities of maybe more PET scans and CAT scans and MRIs and all sorts of shit to see if stuff is spread and all these awful things, and then chemotherapy, radiation. I'm not interested in any of that. That just sounds invasive and cruel and mean. So my head was really messing with me, because the first thing is like, am I being stupid and stubborn in order to prove a point of what I've thought I've known about my body? And is there a possibility that I am going to be doing my kids out of a mom because of this choice that I'm making? And is that the only route a person can go if you find out that you have tumors growing in your body, that you may have cancer? And that freaked me the fuck out. Like, it really did. And I had to sit with that for quite a while. I had to process, and I had to trust that one path felt so heavy and so awful, like it was like you were ripping the soul from my body, to another path that felt doable and strong and empowered. So I chose the doable, strong, and empowered, because my mindset is the only thing that is only going to get me through this situation. That's also the thing that's going to keep my kids strong and my kids confident, and my kids confident in me and this process, to not be afraid of something. I'm not so much afraid of death as what I am afraid of getting to the end of my life and not really have been able to have lived. Yes, that freaks me out so much. That scares me. That makes me sad. I look at my life now and I think, oh my God, to get sick has made me feel like a huge failure. Like I say, you might have your own demons to wrestle in a situation like this, but these are mine. And I've come here, I've only been here for 48 years. I haven't really done much with my life. I haven't really, I haven't achieved any financial success. Ha ha. I say ha ha because the irony is I'm trying to do something here to help people for free. But I feel at times like an enormous failure. And I have to take those feelings. I have to be honest about them. But I have to make sure that those don't devour me. They don't take me down a spiral that I can't get out of bed to walk in the morning, or to want to eat junk food, or to just never meditate again, or sit in the sunshine, or ground myself. In fact, every day I'm hoping that whatever I'm learning about this experience is going to take me one step closer to the things that are good for me and kind and gentle for me. So if it means that I don't ground every day, that's okay. If I don't sit in the sun every day, that's okay. If I don't walk every day, that's okay. If I don't meditate every day, it's okay. But what is my general pattern, or my general habits? It's walking daily, being in the sun, being grounded, meditating, journaling, and doing my best to continue to try and get myself out of this really strange financial situation. I say strange because I was doing fine for 7 years prior to this, fine, and all of a sudden, bam, this has happened. So your mindset and how you deal with the situation, how you view it. How do you deal with death? Are you afraid to die, or you're afraid to not live? Is this what freaks you out about it? Are you afraid to actually make choices for yourself and actually listen to your own body and to become in tune with what your body needs? For me, that's quite a big thing, because I've never really looked after this body very well. Even though I have studied nutrition, I have done loads of fasts, I've done loads of detoxes, I have really done huge things for health. I've never consistently been able to do that. I've been a sugar addict probably since I was in the womb, and I was not brought up in a house that had health as a understanding, or as a any part of our upbringing. And I emotionally was not brought up in a way to teach me to love myself, or care for myself, or value myself, or have worth for myself, which is another video for another time. So taking care of my body is work for me. It's a challenge for me to walk all the time, to maybe do some little yoga moves. I mean, I'm struggling to make that a part of my life, which I know I need to, but it's a struggle. It's like I have to push myself. So the point is that I rather push myself to do the right things for myself, because maybe it gives me that opportunity to stick around a little bit longer. Maybe by the end of this I'll actually know how to take care of myself properly. That would be nice. That would be a nice thing to achieve while I'm in this body. And maybe I'll even give my kids the opportunity to learn how to do that really well for themselves. The mental game is so important. You need to know how you are feeling. Other people can't tell you how you're feeling. I've told you my biggest issues, my biggest fears here. I've got this massive fucking feeling of failure that comes on me, and I got to deal with that and not let it take me down a spiral. And then the next part of that is that I'm super freaked out at the thought that I might die before I've even figured out how to really live and to have experiences I want to have. So how do I deal with that? And yes, self-doubt. If I'm doing this, which is totally against the whole narrative of the planet on how to deal with this, am I making the right decision? And those are, I would say, the biggest things that I wrestle with, other than the fact that I also don't have money, and I don't have a car, and I don't have any extra financial means to help myself in this situation. These are the things that I wrestle with. So I would love to know what you wrestle with. I have an email address, which is selfmasterylove@gmail.com. I will leave it in the description underneath. And if you don't feel to add comments or anything, but you want to reach out to me, you can reach me on that email address. If you have found this to be useful, please like and share. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.